They smile at you, nod, say the right words. "I'm proud of you," they say, and their mouth moves just enough to pass for genuine, but something inside you stirs. Unsettled, tight, suspicious. No evidence, no argument, no obvious betrayal. And yet, something is wrong. Their applause echoes hollow, their laughter doesn't reach their eyes, and the second you rise, there's a pause, a flicker of hesitation, before they force the mask back on. You felt it. That whisper in your gut? It's not paranoia, it's protection. Behind every hollow compliment, behind every carefully measured smile, there may live something darker. Carl Jung called it the shadow, a hidden side of the psyche that wears manners like a costume. But inside, it's chaos, resentment, envy, secret rivalries they won't admit even to themselves. And if you ignore that whisper, if you keep trusting the mask and not the energy beneath it, the cost is steep. Because when hatred disguises itself as affection, it doesn't cut. It corrodes, slowly, quietly. While you think you're being embraced, you're being emptied. It doesn't start with a knife, it starts with a joke. "You're so sensitive, relax, I was just playing." You've heard it, felt it, that laugh that leaves you cold. It's not a joke when it targets your wounds, your body, your past, your fears. They remember everything you ever shared in confidence, then turn it into punchlines, over and over, and when you flinch, they mock your reaction. Now you're the problem. Lighten up, they say, but all you feel is shame. They're not being funny. They're asserting dominance without consequences. If their humor always makes you feel smaller, if it leaves a bruise you can't point to, it's not humor. It's hostility in costume. And then comes the sabotage, the friend who forgot to tell you something crucial, the advice that somehow always steers you off course, the no-show when you needed them the most. Life gets busy, sure, once or twice maybe. But if it keeps happening, it's not forgetfulness. It's strategy. Every missed moment, every bad lead, every backhanded boost is engineered to keep you just behind, smiling all the while. Because some people don't lift themselves up. They just make sure you don't climb too far ahead. It's not support. It's surveillance. They monitor your progress like a threat and offer help like a trap. "I was just trying to help," they'll say. But look closer. The help always harms. And then there's the competition you never entered. You share a win, a job, a goal, a spark of joy, but they can't let you have it. They hijack the moment. "Oh, well, guess what I did?" And just like that, your light becomes a challenge. Your success becomes their insecurity. They don't cheer, they compare. Silently, constantly. They mimic your steps, not to walk with you, but to stay ahead. It's not that they hate you. They hate the way you remind them of what they haven't done. And so, every time you climb, they scramble to stay taller. Not openly, never loudly. But it's always there. That subtle shift, that competitive glint, that hunger to outshine. They call it friendship, family, love. But what it really is a quiet war. Waged with laughter, concern, and half-hearted applause. If you keep pretending not to see it, it will wear you down. But if you learn to trust that inner voice, that feeling that something is off, you won't just protect your peace. You'll finally start to see people for who they are, not just who they pretend to be. If every time you win, it feels like you're stepping into a battlefield instead of a celebration, you're not growing with a friend. You're dodging the quiet arrows of a hidden rival. The smiles look kind, the words sound right. "I'm so proud of you." That's amazing. But something inside you never feels fully safe, because deep down, you know the warmth isn't real. The smile doesn't touch the eyes. The tone is hollow. They're never really there when you need them. Not truly, not fully. Support isn't a sentence. It's a soul. It's someone who stands beside you, not just when it's easy, but when it's heavy. The real ones don't vanish when the spotlight finds you. They don't fade when storms hit. They feel with you. They cry when you break. They celebrate when you rise. But some people, they're phantoms, present in the script but absent in the scene. You reach out and touch nothing. They speak like a machine, polite, clean, emotionless. Cold hands and warm gloves. Carl Jung once called this ego dissociation. When someone becomes so disconnected from their own inner world, they lose the ability to meet you in yours. They don't despise you. They're just not built to love you either. They speak like they care. But their spirit is missing. And what you're left with is an illusion of connection, a script, a role, a smile with no story behind it. You're not in a friendship, you're in a play. And no matter how convincing their performance, you always feel the void. Then there's the kind of care that doesn't feel like care at all. It begins gently. This is for your own good. I just don't want you to get hurt. Their voice is soft, their concern sounds loving, but somehow your shoulders tense, your light dims, and your dreams begin to shrink, one well-meaning warning at a time. They never raise their voice. They don't command, they just redirect, subtly, strategically. You bring up a new idea and they question it. You share your passion and they smile with worry. You choose a path and they remind you to be realistic. It's quiet, controlled, dressed as compassion. And the worst part? They're not always wrong. Their advice might even make sense. But it doesn't lift you. It limits you. You start questioning your own voice, hesitating before every move, seeking their approval before trusting your instincts. You stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, will they be okay with this? Jung explained it clearly. When people can't face the chaos inside themselves, they try to manage everything outside. You become their project, their puzzle, their false sense of order. They don't root for your growth. They just cling to their grip. So they don't push, they condition. They build a world where you believe you can't move without them, that you'll fall unless they guide you. But here's the truth. Love that cages you isn't love. It's fear wearing a caretaker's face. Real care gives you freedom. It says, go try, go fall, go rise again. I'll be here. But fake concern, it clips your wings and calls it safety. It replaces your vision with their plan and your power with their permission. And one day you wake up and realize you've been living someone else's life, all in the name of being looked after. And then there's the whisper war, the kind that begins when you're not even in the room. You walk in and the air changes. Eyes dart, smiles stiffen. Nobody says a thing, but the silence screams. That's the sound of words already spoken, of names twisted and stories bent. Gossip isn't loud. It's surgical. It doesn't aim for your actions. It goes straight for your character. A joke here, a question there, just enough to plant doubt, just enough to fracture your reflection in the minds of others. They won't confront you. That takes strength. Instead, they whisper behind closed doors, smiling in your face while poisoning your image. Why? Because your presence unsettles their absence. Your clarity exposes their confusion. Your peace rattles their chaos. Jung said it best. The brighter your light, the darker your shadow becomes in the eyes of others. Some people don't want to shine. They just want to dim everyone around them. They gossip because they can't compete. They twist your truth because it terrifies them. And while you're out there growing, healing, evolving, they're busy trying to keep you small in the eyes of others because they feel invisible next to who you're becoming. And the most dangerous part? They'll do it all with a smile. They'll wound you with invisible knives, then hug you like they never touched you. But the soul always knows. It knows when love isn't love, when care isn't care, when friendship is just another stage for someone else's performance. And once you feel that, once you truly see it, you can never unsee it. Gossip doesn't expose your flaws, it exposes theirs. The ones who spend their time whispering behind your back are really just screaming from within, begging for a distraction from their own pain. People at war with themselves need a target, and often that target is the one who's walking in peace. You walk into a room and feel the temperature shift, not because of anything you did, but because your presence unsettles something they refuse to face. Their cold stares and sideways glances aren't a reflection of your worth. They're a projection of their own self-betrayal. So don't flinch. Don't turn back. Your silence is the loudest answer. It carries a weight gossip will never reach. That's the sound of self-respect, and it echoes long after their voices fade. There's a strange kind of emptiness that shows up when your life starts getting better. The ones who once stood by you when you were struggling, when everything seemed to fall apart, they go quiet when you begin to win. No excitement, no warmth, just indifference masked with half-hearted words. You send good news, and they respond with a flat cool. You talk about your new job, your breakthrough, your comeback, and the conversation shifts like your success made them uncomfortable. And that's because it did. When you were low, you were easier to relate to. You didn't challenge their comfort zone. Your losses gave them a silent advantage. But now your rise feels like a mirror, one that reflects every dream they gave up on, every risk they were too scared to take. They might act like they're cheering, but energy doesn't lie. Their tone is hollow. Their smiles are mechanical. Their eyes won't meet yours. And somewhere deep inside, you can feel it. They're not happy for you. Not really. Your glow dims the version of themselves they've settled for. And instead of growing alongside you, they distance themselves. Not because you changed in a bad way, but because your evolution exposes their stagnation. It's painful to realize that someone who held your hand in darkness can't stand next to you in the light, but some journeys aren't meant to be shared forever. Some are only there for the struggle, not the breakthrough. People can fake a lot, words, smiles, even affection, but the body never lies. Watch closely, and you'll see the truth spill out in small, silent ways. A smile that disappears too fast. Eyes that avoid yours when you speak your truth. A slight lean away. A hug with no soul. These aren't accidents. These are signals, messages sent from a nervous system in conflict. When someone harbors jealousy or resentment, their body betrays them every time. No matter what they say out loud, their tension, their breath, their hesitation, it all gives them away. You're not paranoid. You're intuitive. You feel things before you understand them, and that's not a weakness. That's ancient wisdom. Long before humans had language, we had instinct. And that instinct still lives in your skin, in your gut, in your heartbeat. That heaviness in your chest around certain people. That sudden shift in your mood when they enter the room. That's not just discomfort. That's a warning. You're hearing their words, but feeling their truth. And that gap between the two. That's where betrayal hides. Most people ignore these feelings because they've been taught to smile through the discomfort and to give others the benefit of the doubt while abandoning their own clarity. But you can't keep trading your peace for politeness. You don't need to call them out. You don't need revenge. You don't even need their apology. What you need is distance. What you need is peace. Because peace is rare, and you've been handing it out to people who only bring chaos. Stop trying to convince them to see your light. Stop waiting for them to clap. You've outgrown their silence. You've outgrown the games. Not everyone who walks beside you wants you to win. Some are only there to study your steps and hope you stumble. They won't stab you in the back. They'll clap late, hug light, and smile with resentment dripping from their energy. But you don't have to absorb that. You don't have to carry their shadows just because they can't handle your shine. So choose you. Choose your peace. Choose your growth. The ones who truly love you will rise with you. The rest, let them fall away. Because self-respect begins the moment you stop chasing validation from those who never wanted you to rise in the first place.